Welcome back, everyone, to Open Line. Glad you're with us tonight. We have with us Tim Takacs. He's joining us via Zoom from his home there in Hendersonville, talking elder law, elder care law. We've had some good calls tonight, some interesting questions about several different types of topics. What kind of stands out to you really in each one of these questions?
Well, what occurs to me is that it essentially is the importance of planning. I mean, often, as you know, Ben, when we come on the show we get calls from people that are saying, well, my daddy's in a nursing home and what do I do? I mean, those are crisis cases, and then you're reacting. But in these cases, the calls that we've had, we're talking about essentially about putting plans in place. Should I change my will? I've got a will in place. Should I do a trust instead? Those types of, a lot of that becomes, one of the questions I would have for that caller would be is, what worries you most about what happens to your estate when you pass away? What worries you, if you became disabled or incapacitated? Are there any particular persons that you feel that you need to benefit from your estate plan or could not benefit from your estate plan, if you don't have a plan in place? And that's certainly obviously, that would obviously important to that caller. Then you have, then our last caller was asking about, the same-sex marriages and so on and so forth. And certainly, I think, I don't know that, I think it's really unquestioned that if you were lawfully married as a same-sex couple, you're going to stay lawfully married as a same-sex couple. And even if the state of, say, Alaska, decides to to ban same-sex marriage, if you go to Alaska, you're still going to be married, as long as you're married and validly married in somewhere in the United States. You're going to be married in the state of Alaska. But needless to say, the conversation there to me is that, all right, if if state law provides whether you can or cannot get, a same-sex person can or cannot get married, and the Supreme Court decides to take that away, then we'll come up with other options.
Wow.
We'll come up with other options that, okay, how do we make sure that if maybe they have this partner one and partner two have a contract that provides for care that if one of the partners becomes disabled or incapacitated, then the other partner would be obligated by contract to meet that person's needs, so on and so forth.
I think it's so interesting you're talking about planning versus reacting to a crisis. And
absolutely.
What percentage of people that come through your door, what percentage would you say are in there to plan, and what percentage are in there reacting to a crisis?
It's probably the ones that are, believe it or not, anymore. And this is really, I guess, a change from what we were seeing 25 years ago. Is that I could probably fairly confidently say is that 20 or 25 years ago, probably a good 50% of the people that were coming in to plan for their long-term care were really in a crisis.
Right.
I don't think we're still seeing those, but we're not seeing the percentage that we were seeing in the past. So somehow, I guess the message has gotten out. Obviously, thanks to Channel 5 and others, needless to say that, of course, as you know, we've been talking about this since, gosh, probably the year 2000 is when I started doing this.
That's amazing.
But yeah, exactly. I was not as gray as I used to be, and I had more hair then, but, I was still talking about the same stuff.
Right. And that's what you've always said, is that you do need to plan.
Yeah.
And I always ask you, when should you start? And you say, well, you should start now.
Yeah, and I've always said, and you've heard me say this before, Ben, is that I think every child, when they turn age 18, they should, somebody should take them to an attorney or whatever, and they should get an attorney they should get a durable power of attorney and a healthcare power of attorney in place, because, in Tennessee, when you're 18 years old, you are an adult. And so mom and dad, are not legally able to make decisions for you anymore. And so, if you have, obviously, presumably you have a parent that you would trust, and you'd say, okay, I'm going to name my parents as my attorney in fact, maybe a sibling or that's essentially, that's like cleaning up after yourself. We don't want to have to deal with you, because you didn't plan. Now, needless to say, there are options that we have. You may wind up in front of a judge because you didn't have a plan in place, and then the judge makes decisions for you, which nobody wants. Even the judges don't want to do.
Right. That's an interesting thing. All right. What should people do if they want more information? They have questions or whatever. What should they do?
Well, one thing is certainly go to our website, www.tn-elderlaw.com, or you can put my name in, or Elder Law in Tennessee, into your favorite search engine, and we'll probably come up, in the first page or so, because we have a lot of information, on our website, that we've accumulated over 25 or 30 years. I mean, literally, we are celebrating our 30th anniversary this year, in doing elder law.
Wow.
So if you're outside the state of Tennessee, or you are maybe you're living, maybe you're watching us from Memphis or some other place, still call or email us, pick up the phone and call us. We will refer you to somebody that because our network casts very wide.
Right.
We know about everybody in the state that does this type of planning, and we want to make sure that we'll get you to the place where you need to get to.
Well, Tim, it's always great to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on. And you always
welcome.
do say, yeah, if we can't help you, we can refer you to somebody that can help you if it's in a different area. But Tim Takacs, thank you so much. You are, I guess, you're done. And then I'll come back and say goodbye to everybody.
All right.
But thanks, Tim.
All right.
We'll
Bye,
see you later.
everybody. Thanks for